Hello, welcome to my channel, Creating the Goods. I'm Wendy. Today I'm doing a quick comparison in case you are trying to decide if you want to jump into sublimation. I want to show you the ultimate differences in durability, the look, and the entire process between sublimation and HTV, iron-on vinyl. Sublimation is a specialized process where ink actually turns into a gas when heated and then bonding permanently to the fabric. This gives you a seamless, professional finish, but it does require specific equipment, a specialized printer, sublimation ink, and sublimation paper. It is worth noting there are also other sublimation methods like markers or infusible ink. But for today, we're focusing on the printer method. Now, the blanks or substrate material must also have a polymer coating or be at least 65% or higher polyester fabric. But of course, higher is always better. For the pressing process, you'll also need a lint roller, heat-resistant tape, butcher paper, and some heat gloves. HTV, on the other hand, is a material that sticks to the surface with heat, giving you a rich color, a slightly raised dimension, and texture. It primarily requires a cutting machine, the HTV materials and tools like a weeding hook and scissors, just to name a few. Now, for both projects, a heat source is essential for this project. I'll be using a handheld press, a heat pad, and a pad pillow. We're going to be using the exact same designs for two different blanks. A white zipper pouch for sublimation and a black zipper pouch for HTV. We'll see which one delivers the results you want. The seamless, permanently infused look of sublimation or the dimensional high contrast look of HTV. So let's get started, and I'll meet you in Cricut Design Space.
Okay, here we are in Cricut Design Space. Let's start a new project by coming up here to the top and clicking New Project. A drop-down box will open and we just need to click Blank Canvas. Once we're on the canvas, I don't need this image window, so I'll just click this arrow to close it. That's better. Now we have more room to work. Next, I want to upload the design that we'll be using today. Let's click Upload here on the left side panel. Click Upload again. Okay, before we upload our design, let me show you how to download and upload it to Cricut Design Space. We are using a design from Creative Fabrica, so let's head over there. Okay, here's the design we'll be using today. Hey Boo. Because I have a subscription to Creative Fabrica, all I have to do is click Download. Then it'll begin the download process up here at the top. Now, of course, it all depends on your device how it will get downloaded. For Mac, once the download is complete, a drop-down box will open. Clicking on a file will open a pop-up box on your device, and then you can just save the file to your download folder of choice. Let's head back to Cricut Design Space and upload our image. Let's click on Browse. Here you will see the design that is broken into different formats. JPEG is used mainly for photos, and a PNG, we usually will use that for sublimation, especially when we want a single flattened image. But for our project, we'll need the SVG. We need SVG because it keeps the design broken into different layers, which is essential for our HTV project, where we'll be cutting and applying each color separately. So I'll click on this and then I'll click Open. So now it'll be brought into Design Space, but still we have to continue the uploading process. So come down to the bottom and click Continue. The background is already removed, so there's nothing more I need to do. And I don't want to save it right now. So we will click Upload. For some reason, the design always comes in so large. Again, I will close the image window to give us more room to work. I'm also going to size our design so we could get it into a more manageable state. Since I've already measured the pouches and the black pouch is slightly larger, but not by much. I will just make the size of the design the same for both pouches. Go up to the top where it says size. I will keep the lock locked and simply enter 4.0 for the width. The height will automatically adjust to keep the design proportionate. Okay, that's a lot better. Let's zoom in so we can see what we are doing. Now, let's look at our design. The design is an SVG, and I know many of you already know the difference between SVGs and PNGs. But for our new crafters, they may not know what the difference is. When changing colors, the SVG format is a major advantage because the file is already separated into layers, making changing the color easy. If this was a flat PNG image, think of it as a picture, changing the color would be much more difficult, likely requiring an external program, a major con for a beginner. The other critical difference is color. Sublimation cannot print white, but its final product gives us an incredible, vibrant photo quality colors. Meanwhile, with vinyl, you have the option of white vinyl, plus many other vibrant colors. Now, remember that for sublimation, we must have a single printable image, a PNG, with at least 300 DPI for a high quality print. Many people prefer to use another design software for their sublimation designs, as those programs offer much better color management for printing. However, for the sake of keeping this comparison tutorial simple, I'll be printing directly from Cricut Design Space. Okay, with that being said, let's change the color of our design. We must first ungroup the design, and we could do this two different ways. We can right click and then click ungroup, or go up here to the top above the layers panel and click ungroup. Now, this will show us the individual layers, and we can see this over here in the layers panel on the right. This allows us to work on our design, move things around if we need to. So let's go ahead and change the color of the word hey to purple. You can click on each of the individual letters by holding down your shift key, or you could come over here to the left at the layers panel and click on each of them from there. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll hold my shift key on my computer, click the YEH. Now go up here to the top on the toolbar, click the little color swatch square, change this from black to purple. I also think I'm going to add another bat to the bottom of our pumpkin, and I think this bat is fine. This will work great. I will right click and click duplicate, or you could click on the bat and then come up here to the top and click the plus sign, and this will also duplicate your image. I'm just going to eyeball it and position it until I think it looks good. There you go. That looks great. Next, I'll highlight the whole image and go up to the top and click the group icon. Again, you could also right click and click group. You can now see the whole image is grouped, and now we can freely move it around our canvas. Now that everything looks good, we are ready for the final steps. I'll start by making a copy so we have an image for both of our projects. To do this, I'm just going to right-click on our design and then choose Duplicate. I'll then move this duplicate image out of the way for now. Next, I will select this image, which will be our sublimation image. I'll come down to the bottom of the layers panel and click Flatten. This action is crucial as it transforms our multi-layered cut file into a single printable image, ready to be sent to the sublimation printer. To keep things organized, especially if you're working with several images, it's a good idea to name them. So let's click on the word flatten for this image in the layers panel, and I will just type sublimation. Then click enter on my keyboard. For now, I'll click the little eye icon next to it and hide it from view. So we can now prepare our HTV design. We need to attach light colors for our HTV layers to ensure everything cuts and places perfectly on our pouch. If we don't attach these separate color layers now, let me show you what will happen. Let's come up here to the top and click Make It. I'm not going to worry about saving anything just yet, so I'll just click No. As you can see, all the elements are scattered across the mats, which is exactly what the attach function prevents. So let's hit Cancel and return to our canvas. Now, click on the main design, then right-click and select Ungroup. This breaks it down into the individual elements. I'm going to hold down my Shift key on my computer and click on all the purple elements in the Layers panel. Then come down and click Attach at the bottom. I'll repeat this process for the black layer as again for the orange layer. Now you can clearly see that all like colors are attached and grouped together. To make moving our entire design easier, I'm just going to highlight the whole image and then click Group up here to the right. Now that our HTV layers are prepared, let me unhide our sublimation design by unclicking its eye icon in the Layers panel. Before we proceed, I'm going to save my design by coming up to the top and clicking Save. I'll name it Hey Boo. I like to organize my designs by where I got them. So I'll select my Creative Fabrica folder and then just click Save. With everything saved and ready, we now can come up to the top and click Make It. I'm using the Cricut Maker 3 today, but you can use any cutting machine of your choice. Now, as you see, everything is positioned correctly for easy placement when it gets placed on our pouch. This is also where you'll adjust your mat sizes and materials that you are using, and also where you'll set your printer information. The HTV mats already are correctly set to 12 by 12 inch mats. That is what we are using. The similarity for both sublimation and HTV is that the design needs to be mirrored or backward before application. And you can click on the mirror manually here if you want, but Cricut handles this automatically now. I will demonstrate how to do this when it's time to cut our HTV. Let's start with our sublimation print. You can mirror your design here as well, but I'll do it in our printer settings just to keep everything uniform. We need to change our paper size for the sublimation print to 8.5 by 11 inches, which matches the sublimation paper we are using. I'll then come down and click Continue, Send to Printer. The page size is 8.5 by 11. Make sure your sublimation printer is selected. Mine is the Brother SP1 sublimation printer. I only want one copy. I'll then turn off the bleed option as we don't need it for this project. Next, we need to click the System dialog box here. Then click Print. If you don't see it, it may be behind the Cricut app window. You just need to lower your window. Again, make sure your sublimation printer is selected, and mine is. The print color, for some reason, the toggle switch on my system looks like it's turned off, but the print is showing it is in color. I'm just going to toggle it on and off again. Okay, that's better. I don't understand that, but it's on now. Again, paper is 8.5 by 11, media and quality. Paper type is set to transfer and quality is normal. Next is layout. Most importantly, within your printer settings, you must ensure you have the option to flip horizontal or mirror image checked, so the design prints backwards. As you can see, my Brother printer automatically applies a setting. Your specific system or printer setting may look a little different than mine. That's it. All we need to do now is click Print. To cut out our sublimation design, I'm just going to use a pair of scissors. Now, we need to start the HTV cutting process for the first layer, which is the glitter iron-on. To select our material, I'll click Browse All Materials. Then I'll come up here to the top and click on All Categories. Scroll to Iron-On, then select Glitter Iron-On, and then just click Done here at the bottom. As you can see, the mirror is automatically turned on. Glitter HTV can be pretty thick, and mine is, so I'll set my pressure to more. I'm using the standard cutting blade, so let's get our mat ready for cutting. I'll place the glitter iron-on material onto the mat, ensuring the shiny side is facing down. With most HTV, the clear plastic side is the carrier sheet. That's the side that goes onto the mat, with the HTV side facing up. I'll use my brayer to firmly adhere the material to the mat. Since this glitter HTV is quite thick, I'm also going to add a couple pieces of tape along the edges to make sure it stays perfectly secure. Now, I noticed as I load my mat, I needed a bit more tape here at the bottom as well. A little tip from my experience. What I really should have done was cut a smaller piece of HTV instead of using this large sheet. Learn by my mistakes. Now, I'll click the flashing button to start my cut. Before I remove the mat, I will check to see if the HTV has cut all the way through. If it didn't, do not remove the mat. Just simply click the Go button again, and the machine will cut a second time. Next is our orange HTV. Since this isn't a specialty material like the glitter, we'll need to change the base material. I will just change this to everyday iron-on setting. Once clicked, make sure you see the mirror is on, and it is. I'll keep the pressure at default since this is a thinner HTV. This will also be the same setting for the purple HTV as well. To save time, I've already cut both the orange and purple layers. So let's look at our sublimation design. Here's our sublimation design. These are the registration marks that Cricut uses so it can cut out the design accurately from your machine. Since we are using scissors, we do not need these. Plus, I do not want them to transfer onto our pouch. You will notice that the design is faded or dull, which is normal. After we apply the heat and pressure, you will see the colors pop and become more vibrant. I'm just going to trim up the design, then put it off to the side and get started on weeding out our 3 HTV layers. All right, now that all 3 HTV layers are weeded, we can start pressing. I'm using a handheld heat press and a heat-resistant mat for both pouches. For this project, we'll be working with 3 vinyl layers. One is the Cricut Glitter HTV, which usually needs 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes. And the other 2 are 405 Everyday HTV from the Hobby Lobby, which will need 265 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 seconds. Keep in mind, heat settings can vary on your materials, humidity, or heat press, so always adjust as needed. And that's exactly what I'm doing here today. The glitter HTV will go down first as our base. Normally, glitter isn't used as a base in layered designs because of its textured surface. But since we're not stacking anything directly on top of it, it works for this project. Here's the plan. We need to use a high enough temperature to get the glitter HTV to adhere to the fabric, but a lower time to avoid scorching it. We'll press the HTV at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. That's half the usual time to avoid overheating it. Then we'll lower the press to 265 degrees Fahrenheit. Apply the other 2 layers of the 405 Everyday HTV. This method protects the HTV from being exposed to high heat multiple times. Now, let's set the heat press to 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Let it warm up. Here's our black pouch, which is 100% cotton, but it feels like a canvas. I'll use my lint roller to remove any lint or dust. I'm placing this heat-resistant pressing pad inside, and this ensures even pressure and won't interfere with the seams and the zipper. I'll make sure to position it evenly so the design elements will line up perfectly on our pouch. I will pre-press the black pouch for about 5 seconds to remove all the moisture, making sure to avoid the zipper. Okay, the pouch is prepped. Let's grab our first layer. That's the black glitter HTV, and we'll get it lined up for pressing. I'll place the design down, lining it up evenly on the pouch, picking it up and repositioning it as needed so it lines up perfectly on the pouch. I will then place a Teflon sheet on top and press for 15 seconds. Now, this partial press will secure our glitter HTV while leaving enough life in the vinyl for a final cure. Since this is a warm peel, I'll slowly remove the carrier sheet. Oh no, did you see what just happened? I didn't notice that the 2 bats didn't press down. This is likely because I didn't apply enough pressure in that specific area. But it's an easy fix, and I'm actually glad that this happened, so I can show you how to correct it. I'll simply cut them out of the carrier sheet and press them with the other Everyday HTV elements. For our last layer, I'll lower the press temperature to 265 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 seconds. Before I press, I'll quickly going to trim the excess carrier sheet from both the pumpkin and the purple hay. And I'll also trim and cut those 2 missed bats from the glitter carrier sheet. I'm placing the pumpkin in its correct position between the B and the O of the design, and placing the purple hay and the 2 small bats in their final spots as well. Tip: keep a visual image of your design open on your device. It helps immensely with the proper placement of all of these small elements. I'll place the Teflon sheet on top and press all of these elements together for 5 seconds. This is also a warm peel, so I'll remove the carrier sheets. Ah, that is better. Everything is pressed now. I'll do one more 5-second press for the final press to make sure everything is set. Oh, that came out beautiful. Can you see the bright neon colors along with the sparkle of the black glitter HTV? Now for our sublimation pouch. First, I will use a lint roller to remove all stray fibers and dust. Next, I need to prepare the pouch interior. I'll place butcher paper inside the pouch first, which makes it easier to place the pad inside the pouch. The butcher paper will protect the pressing pad and prevent ink transfer to the other side of our pouch. The small pressing pad will help to raise the pressing surface and prevent the zipper from blocking the pressure. I see the sublimation design needs a little more trimming, so I'll quickly take care of that. I'm also going to adjust the pad one more time to make sure it's positioned evenly so the placement of our design will be even on the pouch. I almost forgot, I need to adjust my heat press to 385 degrees Fahrenheit for 60 seconds. Once my press is heated, I will pre-press the pouch for about 5 seconds to remove any moisture, making sure to avoid the zipper. I will evenly place the design on the sublimation pouch and secure it with heat-resistant tape. I will place some butcher paper on top of the design and apply the heat press, making sure the press comes straight down without movement so as not to cause ghosting. Now, using firm pressure, I'll start the press for 60 seconds. Once done, gently lift the press straight up as not to move the design or the pouch. I can see the image, which looks like a good press. So I'll let it cool slightly. Now I will remove the tape and quickly remove the paper. Oh, that came out great. What do you all think?
There you have it. I think they came out great. What do you think? Now, for my final thoughts. Sublimation. It gives you a seamless, permanent, soft to the touch finish with no peeling or cracking. And the application itself is faster. But the process from design to finished product still requires specific equipment and materials, including a poly-coated blank that must be white or light in color. There's also an upfront time invested to learn the process and get your setup just right. Now, for HTV, it offers an unmatched versatility. You can use multiple varieties of materials like the glitter and neon HTV you see here today on any color or material. The cost of starting is lower, requiring just a cutting machine, the HTV film, and a heat source. However, it often takes longer due to the layering and weeding process. And there's also a learning curve to master proper application. The final design slightly raised, giving a texture and dimension, but it may crack or peel over time. Ultimately, which is the winner? It really comes down to durability versus versatility and, of course, your budget. I am thrilled how both of these turned out today. Let me know in the comments which one you would pick. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all soon. Bye for now.